Hey guys, Weathercast 100. This is your tropical update for 8/29/2011. I'm sorry I did not do any updates lately. We lately had Hurricane Irene, um, which went up the eastern seaboard and did some damage. Wasn't as bad as expected to be because it didn't train some dry air before landfall. I personally expected it to be at least a Category 3 at landfall, but that didn't turn out, fortunately for the people along the eastern seaboard. But this week, we are talking about Tropical Depression 12, and also we're talking about the possibility of some close-in but weak storm development possible in the western Gulf. So let's get to that. All right, Tropical Depression 12. Currently, winds are at 35 miles an hour, pressure at 1,008 millibars, moving west at 15 miles per hour. As you can see, the projected track takes it off towards the west-northwest over the next couple of days and develops it into at least a Category 2 hurricane by 8 a.m. Saturday. Potentially, probably a Category 3 down the road in here. Now, what is going on with this is a lot of the models are trying to recurve it back out to sea. Don't expect that, simply because this ridge is probably going to try to nose back in towards the Bahamas and the Caribbean and try to steer the storm a little bit farther west. As you can see, the model runs here. Let me move that page over so you can see those. As you can see, the model runs here, like I said, are trying to take it off and then recurve it. Now, what may happen is as this ridge strengthens, another ridge and is just off a few other models runs I've seen. As you can see, there's other ones trying to take it further west and south. And here, it has the ridge building all the way back in across this area. So if that happens, it would steer it into the southeast and into Florida potentially. I think honestly, it's probably going to follow a track somewhat towards the middle of these models until it gets to around this area, and then it'll probably try to turn a little bit further west, but we'll have to see what goes on with that. And to show you my projected track on that, well, here it is. As you can see, here it is right now. I developed it into at least a Category 3 hurricane sometime around this area, possibly Category 4. It depends on the upper level environments. It's still a bit far out, but this is my forecast track. As you can see, I turn a little bit further west. Now, if it takes the northern end of this cone, it will recurve and it will miss the United States. And if it takes the southern end of this cone, well, it'll just impact the Bahamas as at least a minimal hurricane, which would not be good for the Bahamas since they just got beat up a lot by Irene. So the Bahamas need to watch this, and the eastern seaboard needs to, the Bahamas, the Caribbean needs to watch this, and areas like Puerto Rico need to be watching this again because they just got a lot of heavy rain from Irene, and if they get more heavy rain, then that could result in a lot of landslides. So people need to be cautious of that. And also Florida and the southeast need to be watching this too because this has the potential to turn more to the west, and it does have the potential to impact us, and I think it will try to impact us as we go through this week and into next week. Now that homebrew scenario I was telling you about, as we go through about this weekend, into this weekend, you can see this area starting to develop in the western Gulf. Now what that will be doing is that will move across the Cancun area, and that will come into the Gulf, and once it does, it may try to develop into either tropical depression or weak tropical storm. Now this is good news for Texas. This will be the first step in breaking the heat. This should be a fairly good, I'm not going to say a drought buster, but it will be definitely a really needed rainfall for eastern Texas and possibly even into central Texas. Depends on how far inland it gets before it dissipates. But this storm could potentially develop. We'll see how far it gets. The waters are very warm in here, so if it does develop, it may try to be a tropical storm. But I'm thinking probably somewhere between a tropical depression and a weak tropical storm is probably what I'm expecting, and probably a landfall anywhere between, Louisiana and Corpus Christi. But I'll show you the forecast track I have out for that right now. As you can see, I develop it in this general area, becomes a tropical storm probably somewhere in here, and then turns it out towards the north as a trough, builds in towards the Midwest. Not a very strong trough, but a weak trough, builds in towards the Midwest, and it feels the influence from that, pulling it more northerly, probably up in towards the Corpus Christi, anywhere to Louisiana area. So good news for people in that area. They will be getting some much needed rain as we go on in the week. I do not expect this to develop and become extremely intense by any means. It'll probably just be a tropical storm, but we'll see how far it gets developed, as this is kind of a little bit further down the road, and the patterns really are kind of iffy at the moment. But yeah, guys, I'll keep you updated on all of it. Like I said, sorry I haven't done an update in a while because I've been really busy with school. Taking a lot of physics and meteorology courses, so that's keeping me really busy. But I will try to do an update for you as frequently as I can, which I'm not going to promise that it's going to be like every other day or anything, but I'm going to try to get them in there quite frequently. So alright guys, Weathercast 100. See ya.